This week on LCARA Ham Radio, we continue the Crossband repeater series. And what we're going to do is manufacture or fabricate a shunt that we can utilize within the portable cases to monitor voltage and amperage being used. That's what's coming up this week on LCARA Ham Radio.
Is what we want. So what we do, we have a red one and a black one of this, the red and the black.
Right.
Then the red goes over to the positive of the battery, and black will go to this first one right here.
Okay.
Okay. Then you have this one here, then you have a yellow one and a red one. See, and then the red one goes over to the positive, and the yellow one will go down to here.
Right.
Okay. And it says if you're using the low voltage and so forth to measure over 30 volts, then you hook the yellow one here and the black one to the battery
directly to the battery.
To a separate battery. Not
even the same battery.
Not the same battery, see, but to a separate independent battery.
Well, that's complicated.
See? Because if you go start measuring too much voltage here, then you will exceeding the voltage that it takes to power that meter, and you'd blow the meter up.
I see.
See, because the meter probably can't handle much over 30 volts.
The way it's manufactured.
The way it's manufactured. See?
So you have to use that separate battery just to keep it under 30.
You'd have to use a 12 to 24 volts or something down here. See, 6 to 30 volts it says. See,
right.
There. Now, since you're using just a 12 volts up here, then you don't need the black one, because it will get the ground here.
Right there.
Off of there.
Interesting. So I guess the bottom example would be you want to use that same meter, but maybe you've got batteries in series so that you're doing 24 volts or 48 volts. 48 volts.
Like that, yeah.
So you need that smaller battery
like in a
just to run the meter.
Home solar system or something like that. And a lot of them have 48 volts and stuff like that or more,
Right.
So,
cool.
So that's the reason for it.
Now that we have that explanation of what it is we're building, we're taking this shunt, this volt amp meter shunt with the digital meter that we see over here, the digital display, and we're going to put those two together. But how do we manufacture or fabricate the, I guess you could say, the mounting for these parts? Now, AC4DM Don ordered these parts off of quicksilver.com. We purchase everything in this particular build. We haven't received anything for free. And this particular system monitor we got from hamsource.com. Now, that was the unit that some of you may have seen in our Huntsville Hamfest coverage that John gave to us, and which was very nice of him. But just about everything else we've purchased, and this is an alternate method. We could use these and not build anything. And as you can see here, we're just showing it connected to some of the equipment so that we could see the amps, the watts, the voltage, and so on. The meter that we're going to install once we have the mountings created for it does the voltage and the amperage. So which way should we go? Should we build it, or should we just buy everything? And that's one of those decisions that you see a lot of in the ham radio hobby. There are fabricators like AC4DM that will just build what he needs. And that's what he's going to do through most of this video, is show us how to create the mounting for this within the portable crossband repeater kit. Now, these are the Quicksilver shunt pieces and then the digital meters that go with them. And we'll talk more about those leads and the shunts and so forth a little bit later. But what Don wanted to do is create some of the mountings for that shunt that we can then drill holes in and then attach to some board that all of the equipment's going to be attached to within the portable crossband repeater kit, if you will. So we're utilizing the crossband saw here to take some of the metal stock that he has lying around. You can see some there in the top right corner. He just has tons and tons of it, that he's had over the years. And then what we're going to do is we've measured three, we need 3 pieces of this longer 90-degree stock, around 3 inches, I believe it was. And we're going to use the crossband saw here to cut those 3 pieces. So everything that you're seeing in the video, we're doing 3 of, because Don bought 3 from Quicksilver.com, 3 of those shunts with the digital meters. Here we're going ahead and cutting the second one now that we've cut the first one on the crossband saw. I love this tool. I didn't grow up around tools, so anytime I see a lot of these tools, I'm amazed at the ingenuity. For some of you, you use this stuff every day. But for somebody like me who's been in IT and never really built anything, it's cool to see some of these tools come to life. So, 3 of those of that length, and then 3 of the shorter length that you're seeing now is what we're going to be cutting here with the bandsaw. And we're just beginning with these pieces to get them ready to be used with the shunt, and then ultimately mounted to the board where all the equipment is mounted. Alrighty, so now we have our 3 small pieces and 3 longer pieces, but we are not finished, not by a long shot. We have to drill holes in these, and as Don is very meticulous, he's filing the edges on these. These are really sharp they come out of that bandsaw, and so he's taking his trusty files, just aluminum stock here, so it's very easy to file. And then we've marked where we want some of the first holes to be drilled in. KK4YUG is using the hole punch there to mark it and put a little dimple in it. And then we get out the smaller drill press, and we're going to start small holes and then work up the bigger holes on some of these drills. This is one of those tools that Don has as well. And again, some of you who work with this sort of things will recognize the utility of such a smaller drill press. It's portable. You can pretty much take it wherever you need to go. So Steve has drilled his first small hole on one of the pieces of stock, and now we're marking and creating a dimple on the longer pieces. We need 2 holes on these, and again, small holes, and then potentially a slightly larger drill bit to make them a little bit larger. Steve's used this type of equipment in his career as well. He's a master electrician, and people that have been in electronics or mechanical have probably been around drill presses. So here we go. Now on a larger piece of stock, drilling our first small hole. And we have to do that several times because remember, we have 3 pieces of the small, 3 pieces of the large. We won't bore you with drilling all of those holes on every single piece. But hopefully just seeing some of these tools in use, you can see that they can be very handy, not just in HAMRadio, but just with different projects around the house. So now we're taking the shunt and we're just saying, where do we need to create some of the larger holes? Because the shunt itself has to be mounted to these brackets also, the small piece and the long piece. What we've done is created the smaller holes so that we can actually attach the pieces to a piece of board on the bottom. But eventually the shunt also has to be attached to these pieces. So again, we start with small hole, and you can see the diameter of that circle that he's drawn there on this piece of aluminum stock. It's quite a bit larger than the drill he's using, or the drill bit. Then we get out the big drill bit and we finish the hole to the size that we want. KD6 FTR is swaging the holes a little bit so that there's no sharp edges. Sometimes when you drill out aluminum, you'll get burrs that could cut you if you're not careful. So he's swaging out those holes to give them a nice look and smooth. So you can see the smaller holes on this piece of stock on the top side. That's actually what's going to mount to the board. And then the larger holes we've just drilled will allow the shunt to attach. Now AC4DM is taking a little bit of just flat aluminum stock here that we're going to use for mounting the digital meter. And these don't have to be very large, but we need to create a rectangular hole, if you will, in this stock so that the meter itself can fit within it and be mounted on this, which will also then be mounted to the pieces we've shown earlier. So, you know, it's a small little project in the sense of the size of the pieces and so forth, but from a fabrication standpoint, lots of different tools coming out to play, and I'm going to hopefully surprise some of you with a tool at the very end, kind of the climax of this video. Now you can see how the pieces are coming together with that piece of shunt there that ultimately the meter is going to attach to, as we saw at the beginning of the video. So this flat piece of aluminum stock needs to be smaller for our needs and purposes. We need 3 of these. So Don is going to go ahead and take his piece of aluminum here, the reciprocating saw, and he's going to cut the first piece that we need and the width that he's measured, and then we'll do 3 of these.
That sounds like a grand.
That piece of aluminum hitting the ground will sound like something to some of you who maybe are into firearms. Alrighty, so he's smoothing out the other edge there, and then we've got to again cut 3 more pieces, or 2 more, for a total of 3. Because we're building 3 of these shunts. Now you can see that he's got his long piece plus the piece of flat aluminum there, and what he's going to do is file this down as well to get rid of the burrs and the sharp edges, but you can kind of see this is going to be attached to that longer piece so that the meter itself has a place to be and can attach to the shunt with those leads coming off of the meter. So he gets out his handy dandy measuring tape and starts making some markings, and then eventually we're going to have to put a rectangular hole in this piece of aluminum, and then this piece of aluminum nearly gets bent in half to create an angular view of the meter when you open up the portable kit. Small hole, then big hole, and then we get out the hole punch to make an even bigger hole. And some of you know where we're going here. You might say, well, you need a rectangular hole. Why are you using all these round punches and drill bits? Well, this is to give us enough room to put in the reciprocating saw. And we'll take a couple of wrenches, tighten down these 2 pieces, and it'll create a nice, perfectly round hole in this stock. And this will give us the room that we need that you see now to get the reciprocating saw. And as Don is showing there with his fingers, we'll be able to cut around the edges to make it rectangular. So now we bring out the reciprocating saw again, and we're going to begin our first cuts. And again, we won't show you all of this. It takes a little bit of work, but remember, this is one of the pieces. We need to do 3 of these total. And this piece, again, will be bent not nearly in half, but will be bent to create an angular view for that digital meter, which we'll show at the very end.
Come on, get off of that burr. Can't see my line.
On this particular workday that we just put together, we call these impromptu workdays because they're not actually on our calendar. There's about 6 or 7 of us that came to this particular workday to help out. So you can see that beginning cut there. And now as we've gone through, you can see we've cut out some of that stock utilizing the round hole as an entry point. And we're going to finish this up a little bit quicker, but just showing you some of the technique that you can use. And you can do this, we're using metal here, or cutting metal, but do this with wood as well. Especially when you need a hole not on the edge, but in the center, or in the area part of that stock. So Don goes to work with his file again to get off some of the rough edges, but we actually need to file off quite a bit. And you'll notice on that one side, if you will, kind of a hump. We've got too much material there for the actual meter to fit through. So we'll do a test fitting, and sure enough, we're going to have to take away some more of that metal. But we got it pretty close with the reciprocating saw. So just a little bit too much metal there, but we're getting an idea of where we need to shave off some. And we're going to put this piece in the vise, which will make it much easier to file down. And then we'll test fit again once we feel like we have our 4 edges, internal edges there square. little more touch up here with the file to make it clean. And you could tell Don was a machinist. In his younger life, he built engines, car engines, the big ones that you used to see in the movies back in the day. So our meter fits nearly perfectly now in this piece of aluminum stock. Now, again, it's straight at the moment. We're going to put a 45, 40-degree bend in this so that the meter actually points upward towards the operator's eyes. Isn't that cool, though? We can start seeing it coming together. Now we're seeing how we're going to mount this to the aluminum stock we started out with and put the holes, the drill holes in. And the shunt has to attach to this also. And the leads from the digital meter have to attach to this. So we're getting an idea of additional holes and the size of those holes that are going to be needed to be drilled in this flat aluminum. Don's making his marking now. And then we'll go back to the drill press. Create our dimple with our little hole punch. And again, small bit and then a larger bit. Perfect. Not quite as size we need, but one more bit up, and we'll have the size we're looking for. Just need one hole of this size. Swage it out a little bit, and then we'll do a test fit. Sure enough, AC4DM must know what he's up to. Again, we love projects like this. That's why so many of us come together on these impromptu work days to watch the master at work here and to learn some new skills. Now, we needed a couple of smaller holes for the attachment of the plate itself to this angular aluminum piece. The big screw, bolt, and washer is really for the shunt, but we need to attach this aluminum plate to this angular aluminum. And so we're going to create two small holes, and then we're going to attach the two pieces together. But that's where the fancy tool is going to come out. We could have used, screw, nuts, and washers, but Don had other ideas. And this is, again, where the machinist comes out. Make those holes a little bit nice, get rid of the burrs. And now some of you know what we're talking about. Don gets out his pneumatic tool here. And you can see we're using rivets. This is a pneumatic riveting tool. And he's got the rivets of the size that he wanted. And we're going to rivet these two pieces together. And it's just going to look so clean. That, to me, was the piece de resistance. This was cool, to be able to see him pull out the pneumatic riveting tool here. And look how pretty that is, how clean that is. Now, ultimately, after we did some test fitting, we found out the two holes that we had put in and Don had riveted were a little too far apart. We actually, on the two additional ones, and I think he made an adjustment even on this one, we actually needed to make them a little bit closer together. But ultimately, you can see how the pieces are now coming together. And you can see that that flat piece of aluminum that the meter is going to go into is straight up and down. We're actually going to bend that at about a 40-degree angle in the middle so that the meter itself points more upward. And you can see its orientation with the distribution box here. We also had a visitor during our workday. Now, for those of you that don't live in the South or just nowhere where this particular species of turtle lives, this is a baby snapping turtle. It just, for some reason, came into the garage, and so we had to take a picture of that. And now you can see everything put together on the board. And again, this is fabrication. Did we have to put all of this together? Absolutely not. In fact, when we added up the pieces for this, we could purchase the system monitor from HamSource for about the same amount of money. And so we're going to do 3 of these the manual way or the fabrication way, and we'll do 3 utilizing a purchased system monitor like you see here in this picture. But you could go either way, and that's what's wonderful about our hobby today. If you've got those fabrication skills, why not use them? For the Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association, again, we hope you like these builds. The Crossband Repeater Series has more to come. Please stay tuned. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you down the road. 73.